love, and then finish. So there's 3 little sections left. It won't take us very long. Let's go ahead and start with the family. At this point, I want you to say just a couple things about your children and their spouses and their grandkids. I don't need you to talk a lot about them. I just would like you to say a few words about your siblings and or your children, and we'll go move on from there, okay? All right, let's talk a little bit about Joe Jr. Mom?
Let's see. I think Joe would do most anything for us. I'd want to do this to her.
Well, yeah, Joe Jr. is our oldest, and like Mom said, he's the kind of a kid who would do anything for you. And he went off to college, got married very young, never asked for anything. Like I said, got married young, just went through college, started teaching school, taught school for his whole life, and retired, and married Pat. They have Jason and Shannon, and all have turned out fine. Jason has some health problems, but he's dealing with it. He's diabetic. Shannon has 2 children. Seem to be good and active in sports, and again, like Mom said, anytime, Joe lived in Lester Prairie for most of his life, but moved recently to Coon Rapids, and anytime I need something, or we need something, he's over here in 5 minutes. He helps straighten us out on our computers and iPads, and he's just, he's there when we need him.
There's definitely something to be said about number 1. How about Pat? You mentioned a little bit about Jason and Shannon. How about Pat?
Well, Joe married Pat. Like I said, they married young. She's been very supportive. She's been just like a daughter to us. She's there when you need her too.
Perfect.
She's always been supportive of Joe. I know that.
Mom, I know it's kind of emotional talking about family, but can you mention something about Pat and Shannon and Jason too, or did Dad pretty much cover it?
I think he pretty much covered it.
Okay. Well, let's move on to Bill. Dad, why don't you start on this one?
Sure. Well, Bill was our second and first big problem child. Had some very serious addictions as he grew up, but was able to conquer them. He went through treatment for alcoholism and drugs and whatever, and ended up taking it serious enough that he's just spent 40 years of sobriety. He ended up going to Cleveland, Ohio, and was a chemical dependency counselor there. He married Lynn, who he met at the treatment centers, and Lynn was very supportive of Bill. They lived a private life. They had 1 child, Paul, and Paul was turned out, he went to college and turned out to be really interested in foreign languages and stuff, and ended up teaching in Japan for a year, teaching English in Japan, and now works for the federal government. Seems to have his life pretty much turned around, or not turned around, but in order. Again, Bill, is a private person, but he's turned out very well.
I know we just barely touched a little bit about Lynn. Can we talk a little bit, more about Lynn? I mean, rest in peace, Lynn. Lynn passed away last year?
No.
A couple of years ago now.
A couple of years ago now. Can you just think something that comes off the top of your head about Lynn?
Well, I think
She was a very saver.
kind of a private person, but very supportive of Bill. And what did you say, basically?
She was a saver. I didn't tell her about cigarettes when she bought her car.
Oh, she had a smoking problem, and
Addiction, whatever.
she decided a few years back to quit smoking, but not just to quit smoking, but just put the money away that she would have spent on cigarettes and was able to buy herself a new car after about 2 or 3 years, just on the money from the bad habit
Paid
that
it in
she.
cash.
That's,
So that was pretty amazing.
I agree. I think one thing that I have to say that stands out to me about Lynn is she was always the first person to send a birthday card to everybody in our family, which I thought, that's amazing. I mean, she was on top of that like nobody's business. But all right, let's move on to Steve. Steve and Kim. Mom?
Well, you wanna go or you?
You go ahead. Yeah.
Steve was a tough young kid and pretty much had a mind of his own. And Steve had some problems. Got married fairly young, and married Barb LaPointe, and they had 3 sons, Mark, Chad, and Jared. All very active in sports, and Steve was active in sports also. Barb was a housewife, but also went to work. They got divorced, and Steve never remarried, but has a friend, Kim Pohl, and Kim has one son, John, who's a very fine young man. They do not live together, but they're very good friends and do a lot of things together.
Vacation and travel together.
Yeah, they travel together and they vacation together, and I think Kim helped Steve a lot in his business with his books and stuff. The boys have all grown up, all went into the service. They were all, at one time, the airborne division of the Army at one time, and airborne, yeah. And then Mark went on to, he stayed in the service and is just entering his 20th year in the service this year. Mark is married to a gal named Becca, and I don't know her last name, but they have, well, Mark was married a second time. He was married, and then Mark was married Becca. He has 3 children. Chad had 3 girls with Roseanne, and then they got divorced, and then he has another child with Jessica. And then Jared is the youngest of the 3, and Jared is recently divorced. His wife was Katie Larson, and they have 2 children, Max and Abby, and both Chad and Jared are policemen for Brooklyn Park Police Department.
All right, and I know you mentioned that John Paul was a very good young gentleman. Is there anything else you want to mention about John?
John works for his mom. Oh, anyway, John works with Kim, his mother, and they have a business that they do auditing the books and stuff like that. John has his own house, and he has him and his partner, or I shouldn't say partner, anyway, his friend. They live in the same house, and then they're thinking about maybe selling it and going their separate ways or whatever. But I should see when that gave
Yep. And just to go back a little bit about Kim, Steve and Kim been together for about how long, do you think?
Oh, I think 17, 18 years.
Yeah, pretty close to 20 years, right?
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to mention about Kim? And
Well, Kim is a very independent and person. She has her own business. She's also a realtor. She has a real estate license, but she basically does financial records for companies. She's
Very
I
knowledgeable.
can't even think of the name of what you call them, but
She's very knowledgeable.
and she has her own home, and she was previously married, I believe. No, she wasn't married, but she had a son before. But
I know, I think I see a lot happier Steve with Kim, so I'm very,
and Kim comes to all the family functions, and
Yep.
she's always pitches in the kitchen, and she's just a homebody.
yep. I know she likes to put on a heck of a Thanksgiving these days, too.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on to Kevin and Sue.
There you go.
You
Kevin's our middle son, and he worked in, I believe his first, well, he might have had a few little odd jobs, but he worked at a place called Time Savers in Crystal, when we lived there, and I know he hurt his hand at work where he handling sheet metal and cut his hand pretty much, and I think after that he decided that that sheet metal work probably wasn't his, gonna be his life, so he ended up getting a real estate license. He married Amy Webster, and they have 3 children, McCall, Madison, and Tyler. Kevin and Amy divorced, and Kevin went a few years single, and then he married Sue. Can't think of her last name right now, but Sue, and then Sue has works for AC Electric. She's been there for many years, and she pretty much, I think, runs that operation over there, the office part of it.
She has 2 children.
And she has 2 children, Scott and Heather, and they're both married. Scott is married to Anna, and
Heather's to
Heather's
Jason.
married to Jason.
They have 2 children.
Yeah, they have 2 children. But Kevin has been successful in real estate. He's, like I said, he got his real estate license, went on to run his own company for a few years, ran a building company, then went back to Edina Realty and ended up managing, he's now manager of the Blaine office for Edina Realty, an office of over 60 agents. And he's one of the top managers in the Edina Real Estate Company. Just received the Emma Award, which is the highest award anybody can receive from the company for their dedicated service.
How about, yep, Kevin has,
On
how
the trips.
about their kids? Tyler, McCall, Madison.
Yeah, McCall moved to California after she went to St. Thomas College and moved to California and to law school out there, and is now a practicing attorney in California. Madison went to college at Southwest State and then transferred out to a college in California and completed her college out there, and works in the Napa Valley in a winery. I'm not exactly sure what she does. Neither are married. Tyler is went to St. John's University, and he ended up working for Walgreens for a number of years as an assistant manager, and then decided that he wanted to get into real estate, so he is a realtor for Edina Realty and has built up a very formidable business. He has a team of realtors working with him now, a team of 3, and is doing well. He's married to Ashley Fulton. They have 2 children, Jameson and Ariana, and everything seems to be going pretty good for them.
He's very successful.
How about McCall and Madison?
Well, McCall, like I said, she's an attorney in California working with a law firm. No definite plans to get married, although she has a steady boyfriend. Like I said, Madison works in a winery up in the Napa Valley. And not exactly sure what she's done there. I think her college degree was in journalism and photography. But she's not in that field right now, but might end up in there. But she, as far as I know, does not have any steady boyfriend. They're both really fine young ladies. We visit them when we can, and we've been out there and they've been here, and